Now we will look at the implications for understanding normal language processing. We have already discussed the aphasic issues and how disorders take place and how different lesions in different specific areas of brain actually lead to the different types of aphasia. But now we have to look at the normal language processing to see that do they function similarly, what are the differences, and how these processes differ in terms of language use. Now, one way to approach the issue is to examine whether the distinctions we were compelled to draw when discussing normal language are same ones that we observe in aphasic cases. Brain is basically composed of localized but connected specialized areas, and these areas control sensory, auditory, visual, motor and memory processes. Language ability is one of the key functions of the brain. So we see that different studies have been done, and studies especially which are on the normal processing of the language are the ones which also takes into account neuroimaging technique as well. Because just to study the normal processing of language, we do not only have linguists who are doing that. We have linguists, we have neurolinguists, neurologists. The reason is that it's normal when the process is just without any deficit or there is no harm to them. But the patients who are suffering from some kind of damage in that part of area which deals with the language, then it is important to use even the neuroimaging techniques, which basically clarifies how humans speak, neural deficits, and the damages behind language disorder. There are other subdomains such as phonology, semantics, syntax, producing and comprehension, each of which has a very important role to play in the normal processing of language in the brain. So now we will look at different parameters or characteristics with regard to normal language processing. A major distinction in the study of normal language processing is between comprehending language and producing it. If this is not merely a conceptual distinction but also biologically based, then we would expect to see some aphasic cases in which comprehension is impaired but production is not, and vice versa. The initial descriptions of Broca's and Wernicke's aphasias support this distinction. There is also neurological evidence for the distinction between open and closed class words. In normal speakers, the speed of retrieval of open class words such as nouns and verbs is related to the frequency, but that retrieval of closed class words such as grammatical morphemes and function words is not influenced by frequency. In contrast, agrammatic patients show frequency sensitivity on both classes of words. Thus, agrammatic patients have selective deficits in accessing closed class words. Then we have neuroimaging studies which hold the potential to add new information on ongoing psycholinguistic issues. Now, recently we have Mason, Just, Keller and Carpenter who examined functional magnetic resonance imaging, which is called fMRI. fMRI. It is functional magnetic resonance imaging. It is called functional because it provides a view not only to brain structures but also brain activity of participants who were comprehending syntactically ambiguous sentences such as The experienced soldiers warned about the danger before the midnight raid. And the experienced soldiers warned about the dangers, conducted the midnight raid. Now, sentences such as 9 typically lead to longer parsing times because the structure of the sentence is reduced relative clause. Now, in contrast, sentence 8 is more easily understood. Sentence 8, the experienced soldier warned about the danger before the midnight. The experienced soldier warned about the danger, conducted the midnight raid. Mason et al. Found evidence of increased processing time for sentences such as 9. More interestingly, they also increased brain activation for sentences such as 8 relative to unambiguous sentence in absence of behavioral evidence of increased passing time. Thus, fMRI results appear to tap increased processing activity that was observed in the behavioral data. Now, aphasic language poses challenges to our conception of language. For one, some aphasic display category-specific disassociation, and some patients have little difficulty in naming colors and body parts with considerable trouble in naming fruits and vegetables. Another intriguing aspect of aphasic language is the sparing of comprehension of axial command in individuals with 1x aphasia. Although 1x aphasics shows many problems in language comprehension, they respond correctly to commands involving midline of axial structure. Midline of axial structure, such as stand up, turn around, take a bow, and look up. For example, patients perform accurately when asked to stand like a boxer or even take 2 steps backward and sit down. What is especially striking is that axial commands sometimes involve specific noun or verb that these patients ordinarily fail to comprehend. To conclude, there is still much more to learn about language in individuals with various forms of aphasia. What we have learned to date is that some aspects of aphasic language do not fit into psycholinguistic theories as currently construed.